good morning there, and welcome to this Mark's Reviews and Tutorials video. This one is going to be a quick one on how to patch up a velveteen mattress. That's the one with a bit of the fluffy felt type feel on them, but also specifically for one when you've got a built-in motor like this, because you can't go stick it in the swimming pool and try and immerse it and so forth. So the best way to find a hole in this, what we did, we blew it up and then put this to the top and sat it up on its end. It was actually outside. We did it out here. When it was like that, we could then hose down the whole mattress with this motor sitting right up at the top and have no fear of getting wet or even that. And even you could run to the edges here and put some water on that as well. So we ran water all over this, particularly checking the seam. When these go, often it's in the seam where they go. So you check near the seam to see if there's a weak point. So we ran the whole thing over with water and couldn't find anything. Front, back, sides, the whole lot. The next thing we did was just got rid of all the noise and then just put our ear really, really close. Pumped it up hard at this point and then listened, and that's how we found our holes. You could hear this little sort of, not like that, but anyway, there was a whistling sound. You could hear the air coming out. So we just ran our ears around the whole thing all over, and that's how we found the holes. Now the holes, there was actually, if you see this line down here, and you see we've put some glue on the top of that all the way down, just tiny little holes and little nicks. A lot of these actually aren't holes, it's just little nicks all the way along there. Now, I've done a lot of patching of mattresses, and this is what I've found to be the absolute strongest and best. I think the patch kits are an absolute joke. Have a look at this video up here. I'll put a link. It shows one of my very early YouTube videos, and it's hilarious just how bad the camera work is in a video. It's worth watching the video just to see how bad the camera work is. But I went through there and just showed that the patch kit, the little patches just curled up and they fell off. It was absolutely useless. And there was a little secret I showed you there about how to get a good patch and use the glue, and that worked really, really well. But what I've actually done here, I've just used Fix All, but it's the active ingredient that matters. See here, SMX, hydrid polymer product. So it's like silicone, but this one will work in a wet situation. It'll bond stronger and better. I'll put a link in the description through to some of this in a smaller container than this, because it's really, really good stuff. And I have just put a smear over here. And I've done this before on an old double airbed, and that mattress lasted 20 years. That was just with straight silicone. So if you can't get hold of the SMX polymer, then use some straight silicone is absolutely fine as well. This stuff just bonds a little bit better. So you can see there, I've put it on reasonably thick. I just smeared it on with my finger. Where the thick bit is in the middle is directly over the hole, and then just giving it a rub. You can see a hole there in the middle of that. If you find that you've got a decent size hole, then I would put a bit of patch down as well. And my recommendation would be just use a piece of duct tape, or cloth tape is actually best. Cut in a circle and put a dab of the SMX under it, and then push the cloth tape down and then go around the edges as well. But this guy here, just because these were so small, you see there's another one there. I don't think that's even a hole. It's just like a little nick and a scratch in the top. So we're just covering it up to make sure that they're covered. So there you go, that's my recommendation. Wet it and then listen. You can't just listen, it makes more noise when it's wet, particularly the velveteen. When the material gets wet, it will stick wet, it sticks far better dry. So if you are going to use it, make sure you leave it and get the material fully dry, and then put that in. And then when you put it on, give it a good rub. Make sure it gets into the velveteen, not just sits on top. So press it in hard, give it a rub, and then smooth it and give it a bit of body, a bit of size over where the actual hole is. But we've had great success patching up with this. It's not expensive patch kits, but it works really, really well. And it works even when you got the motor built into the mattress. So there we go. It's been a couple of hours now, and these have all dried. And if you have a look, you give them a pinch, like that's the way this stuff sticks on. It's just never going to peel off. It's so much more robust and strong than a patch. The patch tends to want to stay straight and it can tend to peel off, but that is just stays really flexible and really bendy. And yeah, as I said, have a look. There's a video I did where these were like 7 or 10 years old or something. We'd done these sort of patches, and it worked an absolute treat. So there you go. Have a look at the links in the description. I'll put through for some patch kits and some SMX and silicone and things like that, so you can have a go and patch up your mattress.